Words I could never say. I can't
I'm about to start.
my arms around you. The whole I've waited just to love you. Know that I have found you got of love. Please
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your patience. We will be starting in less than 4 minutes. I'm just waiting for our director to join us and for anybody else who's outside to just come in. But we appreciate the patience and we will be starting very shortly. Thank you. Oh, cameraman, let me just press it on that one also. Thank you. All right. So with everything, we would like to start it off with a word of prayer. And I would like you to just bow your heads while I lead you into us into. Yes, you could stand. Yes, let's stand. Thank you. And those who need to sign themselves, please sign yourself. Heavenly Father, we gather today with hearts full of gratitude, celebrating the journey that you have guided us through. We thank you for the vision that led in the birthing of our organization, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, and for the dedication of its council members, management, and staff, and for the commitment of every hand and heart that has contributed to its success along the way. Lord, we acknowledge that every success, every milestone, and every challenge overcome has been possible because of your grace. As we mark this anniversary, we ask for your continued wisdom to lead with integrity, compassion, and excellence. May this celebration not only honor the past, but inspire us towards a future filled with purpose and service. Bless our leaders, our colleagues, our partners, and all who are gathered here today. May this occasion strengthen our unity, renew our commitment, and remind us that our work is ultimately for your glory. We dedicate this celebration to you, Lord, and pray that your presence will guide us in all that we do. In Jesus' name, amen. While we are still standing, we will have the national anthem. You may sit. At this point, I would call on the director of the St. Bishop Bureau of Standards to welcome you here and establish the protocol. Mr. Emmanuel, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Department of Commerce, Mr. Potter. Mr. Peter Lord, Chair of the Standards Council, and other members of the Standards Council. Distinguished guests from regional and international partner organizations. For manufacturers, producers, stakeholders, members of the media, members of our technical committees, chairs of our technical committees, SLBS staff, ladies and gentlemen, very warm good morning to everyone here. Welcome to this momentous occasion, the 35th anniversary of the St. Bishop Bureau of Standards. 35 years in the life of a person, 35 years is the prime of adulthood. In the life of a national institution, 35 years represents a wealth of experience, a bedrock of trust, and a proven legacy of excellence. We are delighted to have that you have chosen to join us to celebrate this milestone. Your presence here demonstrates a testament of your commitment to quality, consumer protection, and industrial development of our beloved St. Bishop. 35 years ago, on the 1st of April 1991, the SLBS commenced operations, both under the Standards Act number 14 of 1990. Over these 3.5 decades, we have evolved into a vital pillar of national development. We have moved from a nascent understanding of quality to becoming the full custodians of our national quality infrastructure. We have seen local products rise from humble beginnings to regional competitiveness, guided by our conformity assessment process and certification system. We have worked behind the scenes to ensure that the electrical appliances in our homes, the packaged water, and the concrete in our buildings meet the required safety standards. SLBS has played a critical role in educating our industry on the importance of standardization as a tool for trade and sustainability. As we enter 2026, the theme of the 35th year is building stronger, smarter, and safer solutions. The world is changing faster than ever, and SLBS is keeping pace. Today, we are not just looking at traditional standards. We are looking at the future of our economy under several headings, such as tourism. We are heavily involved in standardizing our tourism product to ensure quality, sustainability, and safety across the accommodation and tour operation sector. In the area of innovation and safety, we are navigating the complexities of artificial intelligence and information technology standards
ensuring that St. Lucia moves forward in the digital age. Our data is secure and our technology is ethical. In the areas of consumer protection, just recently on World Consumer Rights Day, we affirmed our pledge to safe products, confident consumers. Our surveillance efforts mean that the marketplace is safer today than it was yesterday. Resilience. In our changing climate, the SLBS is vital in creating standards for construction and energy efficiency, helping build a resilient nation. This is a testament to the fact that quality is our way of life. 35 years of success was not a solo effort. We are grateful to the Ministry of Commerce, who we thank for their continued policy guidance and support. To our stakeholders and manufacturers, you are the heart of our mission. Thank you for embracing quality management systems and recognizing that the SLBS certification is a stamp of excellence. To our regional and international partners, PROSCU, ISO, ASTM, Codex, your partnership ensures that solution standards are world-class standards. To the SLBS team, to our inspectors, technicians, admin staff, the communications team, you are the unsung heroes of national quality. Your tenacity, often in the face of challenging conditions, is appreciated. As we look forward to the next 35 years, we know the path requires even higher standards. We are moving forward smarter, sustainable practices that will truly add market value for our products and services. The future calls for the greater adoption of international best practices in artificial intelligence, cannabis, green energy, and global and sustainable tourism. We call on all stakeholders here today to not only see the SLBS as a regulator that restricts you, but as a partner that empowers you. Quality is a journey, not a destination, and we are with you every step of the way. We have a very interesting program lined up for you today, featuring stories of our journey and the vision for our future. So on behalf of the Standards Council and the staff of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, I would like to welcome you and thank you and look forward to a fantastic 35th anniversary celebration.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. I will admit when he said that, you know, our department, and he mentioned the communication department being part of the unsung heroes, I kind of. I felt very proud. I'm not gonna lie. I feel very proud to be part of this organization. But I would like to call on somebody. When I say about being proud of this organization, this person, I think, has been like a beacon of pride in this organization, because this person has been a stalwart. Is that the right word? Pillar. A pillar. Yes. A pillar, just like metrology is a pillar of the national quality infrastructure. This man has been a pillar of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. And it might be self-serving for him to actually call out pillar, but who better than to describe himself? I'd like to call Mr. Anselm Gittins, who has been one of the longest serving staff of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. How long is it, Anselm? 3. Huh? 3. He's almost as old as the people. This is our head of metrology, Mr. Anselm Gittins.
Yes, morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's good to see that the Bureau has come so far, you know, after a lot of effort. We started the Bureau was actually established by the Standards Act in 1990. And then the first director was appointed. We started operations in 1991 and Mr. Lewin became director. And that, in 1991, we actually housed on the fourth floor of the government buildings. That's the Hurley Road building in town. And then around 1992, 93, our staff complement increased because we had Mr. Thomas Edmond as the first time officer, late Thomas Edmond. Edmond later on became acting director, and then also served as a chair in recent years. We also had Ms. Plant as the secretary. So at one point, the bureau only had 4 members of staff all on the 4th floor of the Heralding Road building. There were times we had challenges there in that we had widths on the 4th floor, and occasionally the lift there would be down for months. So we were actually stuck up on the 4th floor. But then we persisted. As time went on, we actually got additional staff. Around 2009 2000, we made a submission to the OPSR project, which is a EU project to actually put more resources into the Bureau of Standards to ensure that we can then better serve the private sector. So the private sector accessing resources from overseas. So that was accepted, and on the OPSR project, our staff complement increased from around 4 to 11. And around that time, the metrology department moved to Jeremy Street. And Liz joined us then on Jeremy Street as our first receptionist. Liz and the bureau was in 2 locations. We were at Jeremy Street, metrology, and the standard section on the 4th floor of the government buildings. Then in 2004, we all moved to this location at BZ. And I think our present Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. was the Minister of Commerce at the time, so he officially opened this premises. Since that time, the Bureau has made a lot of significant progress regionally. And of course, I should say that we passed the Metrology Act in 2000. The Metrology Act repeats the 1911 Weights and Measures Ordinance. In that ordinance, the police were responsible for weights and measures. And then in the 70s, the Price Control Department. But then we recognized that we needed a new law to regulate weights and measures activities in St. Lucia. I should say metrology is the science of measurement, and not to be confused with meteorology, I keep saying that. So we passed the Metrology Act in 2000, and it made the Bureau officially responsible for weights and measures, which is what we now call legal metrology. That actually set the platform for us to give us a mandate to then regulate other sectors of the economy. So apart from doing just gas pumps and scales, we also had oversight over water metering and electricity metering. That's WASU and WUSELECT meters. Before we passed the Metrology Act, we actually did a survey in 1996 that showed when people buy fuel at the gas pumps, they weren't getting value for money. And there was no effective regulation of the gas pumps on the island. So that survey was actually, the results of that survey was used as justification for the Metrology Act in 2000. And then coming on from the Metrology Act, it then allowed us to move into metrication to oversee St. Lucia's transition from the build system to the metric system. The metric system is official measurement that we still allow the bridge units in some areas. Then coming up in terms of the progress, we then in 2015 the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards became the first national metrology institute. St. Lucia became the first NMI in the Caribbean and the smallest country in the world to get a prestigious OIML award for excellent achievements in legal metrology in developing countries. So that was a significant milestone for us. Then we also in 2020, when the metrology lab was located in this building, we became the first lab in the English-speaking Caribbean to become accredited, first calibration lab to become accredited. In the OECS countries become accredited, and that was done under JANAC. I've been here so long, so that's why I have reading glasses. So then in 2021, the Bureau of Standards moved, the Metrology Department moved across to NADA, the National Agricultural Diagnostic Facility, so we actually expanded. And then in 2022, the St. Lucia became the first OECS country to host the SIM Annual General Assembly. The SIM is the Inter-American Metrology System, and SIM has helped develop metrology in St. Lucia. And then in 2022, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards became the first OECS, St. Lucia, represented by the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, became the first OECS country to become a corresponding member of the OIML. OIML is International Organization of Legal Metrology. Then through our efforts, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards was instrumental in having the National Agricultural Diagnostic Facility, NADA, become the first designated institute from St. Lucia under SIM, which is another significant milestone. So, I mean, we're here now. I should say that, I mean, in the old days, we didn't know about Bureau of Standards, but now Bureau of Standards is a household name. Some people see us as a policeman to enforce, different things that at times are beyond the scope of our authority. We have come a long way from the time when 1996 we actually had a metrication seminar, and we sent a press release to one of the newspapers saying that we're having a metrology conference. So the editor of the newspaper thought that we had misspelled metrology and meteorology, and they published the headline of the caption about our conference as weathermental of the standards. Yes, so now I think people understand what metrology is, but we still have to make the distinction, because at times we see if you make mistakes in the press when they're referring to meteorology, then they would actually, probably refer to metrology instead. So we still have that we have, overcome. But I think going forward, the Bureau will expand its services to meet the needs of the economy. Also, we also a consumer protection agency. So we do a delicate balance in that. We protect the consumers while ensuring that we apply science and technology to make our local manufacturers or business more competitive. So I thank you.
Like it is Mr. Gittins telling his like our resident historian.
But I mean, who better has more institutional knowledge than somebody who's been there from the get-go? I think maybe, well, we don't want you to go anywhere, Hanson. So we appreciate that. Thank you again, Mr. Gittins. We also have another pillar, Mr. Hubert Reynolds, who is our head of compliance, and who from the inception, the Bureau has been adding more, getting more responsibilities and adding more programs. Mr. Reynolds handles the conformity assessment aspect of the Bureau and the compliance department. Mr. Reynolds, thank you.
Morning, everyone. Not going to be able to give you highlights starting from the section with Mr. Gittins. I'm going to start in 2004 when I joined. So when I joined compliance, the services import monitoring that was started in January of 2003. Label assessment, market surveillance, and package development. So the staff complement at the time was Dr. Walcott, one SO myself, and 3 standard assistants. One of them is there with us, in 2004, we had to recall packaged water because it was contaminated with lubricant. And so all of this started with someone calling in. It was a civil servant who drank part of a bottle of water and left the rest in the desk. And the following day, when she came to consume it, she realized it smelled and tasted like diesel. And so in our investigations, we did an inspection. We realized that the manufacturer was using a compressor, using regular oil, regular engine oil as a lubricant. And some of that oil was getting onto the bottles that he was blowing. So it took us a bit to figure it out. And so we had to recommend that he use food grade lubricant. And that's all the problem. In October 2004, we started the tire inspection program. And this is where we brought in Ernie and Wendell. Not Ernie Kid, sorry. So we started in October, and looking at data from October to December 2004, we inspected a total of 18,500 tires. And we're comparing this to October, December of last year, where we inspected a total of 35,000, almost double. Out of that, about 24,400 were new, 11,000 reuse. We have since changed the way we do tile inspection. So instead of most of it being done by staff, we have reached out to what we call part-time inspectors. And so they will come in and do the inspection when needed. And tile inspection has a heavy toll on inspectors' part. And so they would have to do the normal work during the day, and in the afternoon inspect tires. So doing that, we have been able to alleviate that issue. And at the beginning of July, so around July 2011, sorry, Dr. Walcott left us to greener pastures. And in August 2021, we started the electrical appliance testing program. It so happened in September 2021, I became the head of department. In May 2021, we extended our electrical testing program to include a formal cutoff of funds. So we realized that there were some issues where some houses were actually getting built with funds that malfunction. So after a while, the fund blade would stop and the motor keeps running and generate heat. So the blade would have to cool the motor. So without the motor, the fan running, the motor will get hot and it can start the fire. So in May 2021, we started testing thermal cutoff, and that involves destroying the fan. So we actually would jam the fan until the thermal cutoff engages, and when it engages, it disconnects the electricity to the fan. So that's how it stops it. And the standard requires it not to re-engage afterwards. That fan is destroyed. In May 2022, we started our vehicle inspection program, and that program came in the right time. We're now in a position where most of the developed countries are moving to ban internal combustion engines, and we're seeing a lot of internal combustion engine vehicles being sold as used vehicles, and that is having an impact on us. Traffic now and 10 years ago is a lot different. Just from late last year, we inspected 1,700 used vehicles. So we're almost bringing in about 400 used vehicles a month. And we expect that to increase as those developed countries like the UK, Japan, bringing new legislation banning internal combustion engines on the roads. And we would see those vehicles getting cheaper and a lot more of them coming in. So that program is well placed to help to protect us. In October 2022, we became accredited to ISO 17020 by JANAT, and the scope of that accreditation includes electrical appliance testing, label assessment, and time inspection. So we are up for reaccreditation this June. Because compliance actually has to respond to commerce. So whenever there is an increase in commerce in one of the areas where we regulate, there is a need to increase our staff complement. So we have, as of this year, we started restructuring the department. So we have now separated some of the services. So we have electrical appliance separate, and we have a separate standard officer who will be supervising that program. Warehouse inspection, tire inspection, and vehicle inspection has also been separated to a separate standard officer. Label assessment, market surveillance, and internal audits is been separated as well. So we anticipate a staff complement of 14. And when we started in 2004, we only had 5. So we are indeed the fastest growing department in the world because we have to respond to consumer demands. That's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. I'm sure a lot of, well, maybe not you, maybe not you, I guess, but a lot of the general public are not so aware of the invisible shield the Bureau acts as, in safeguarding their homes and their property. I mean, for example, the thermal cutoff means a lot less fires and property damage. And that is as a result of our program here at the Signature Bureau of Standards. Another way we form an invisible shield is through our certification programs. We do basic training in food safety and also the hazard training, hazard analysis, critical control points. And the person taking the charge in that is our very own Dr. San Dubiso, who works around St. Lucia with various agencies in performing these trainings. Dr. Dubiso, we would like you to join us upstage and just give us a brief rundown of the work with the leaders.
Good morning, everyone. Dr. Protocol that has already been established. The process of certification, sometimes we use the word so vaguely. It really involves a standard against which an assessment is made, and followed by the actual assessment, or what we call an audit, to determine whether or not the requirements of the standard is being met. So based on that determination, we will grant a certificate to the client. So the SLBS conducts certification of products, processes, and services. We don't do system certification, though we have a person certification, we don't do system certification, such as certification to ISO 9001, the management system standards, the environmental management 14001, etc. So our scope of services range from food hygiene certification. We do good manufacturing practices certification. We do HACCP, which is hazard analysis, critical control point certification. We do beauty and wellness certification and what we call product certification. As part of the product certification, we do have what you call a standard mark. And that standard mark is actually placed on the product. We have had some success with that program with bottled water. We recognize that we need to grow and expand on the certification programs that we offer. We need to grow into more sectors because we do know it is very critical, such as agriculture and other programs that are aimed at sustainable development. But I must tell you, there have been many challenges with the uptake of our certification programs because certification is market driven. Unlike our regulatory departments, which is the metrology department, because it's regulatory, so customers, the clients must meet the requirements. We also have our compliance department, which is also a regulatory department, but certification is voluntary. And what we would like to see, because we are not where we want to be, what we would like to see is for more agencies to benefit from our certification programs by making these programs mandatory. Okay, so as a result of that, we do have a new strategic plan over the next 5 years. And as part of that strategic plan, we do realize there's need to have effective stakeholder engagement so we can bridge that gap. What we want to do is to increase the demand for certification services. And this is a challenge regionally. Once something is voluntary, then it's an issue. Because if you don't have to do it, then you definitely will not do it. So if we can have the agency supporting us to make these programs mandatory, then this will definitely be a plus for the solution bureau standards. Most persons don't recognize the benefits of certification because what they look at is the initial cost, but they do not see the bigger picture where once the program is implemented, you have lower costs, operating costs, you have increased customer satisfaction. And of course, once you have customer satisfaction, the customer keeps coming back, you have complete business. So due to our commitment to quality, we are part of a project from CrossQ to becoming an accredited certification body. Accredited to 17065, which is the standard that looks at certification for products, processes, and services. So we are receiving support from CrossQ in order to do so. And when we say accreditation, we're really looking at demonstration of our competence. We want to prove that, yes, we are doing what we do very well. Just like our compliance department, which is now accredited. So there's that demonstration to the public that the St. Lucia Bureau Standards is a competent certifying body. We currently do have a staff complement of 3, and that of course we need to grow once we have the increase in demand. So as part of our strategic plan, please, we need to look out for more effective stakeholder engagement so that we can grow our certification offers. But the Bureau also offers training. So we do training, basic training in food safety. We have training in HACCP as well. We do GMP training. So we do training, and this is also something that, of course, we will be doing more once that strategic plan rolls out. So this is basically my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Dubiso. So now we've done compliance, we've done certification, we've done metrology. What next? Standards, right? And we have our special standards officer, Ms. Kensha Neptune, who will be giving us a rundown on what we will be pursuing in the near future. The work of the standards development departments. Ms. Neptune, give a round of applause.
Let me adopt the protocol that has already been established. So I'll not go through this fully, but the standards development currently has 23 technical committees. What I can say is that the Bureau, through compliance, certification, we currently have standards for all these areas. Okay? All right, so the St. Lucia Bureau Standards continued its strategic commitment to advancing the national quality infrastructure through the development of standards in priority sectors. Work done for the period includes national focus on healthcare, good governance, construction, food safety, tourism, cosmetics, medical devices, aging societies, and operational safety, with additional support for regional and international harmonization initiatives. So with regards to that, we have 23 technical committees in all these areas as agriculture, national food safety, we have for construction, mechanical engineering, yes, and so forth, sorry. Regional engagement has been achieved through CARICOM with active participation and leadership in regional standards, development and harmonization of energy efficiency building codes and appliances, tourism, professional engineering, agriculture, and food labeling. International standards development with leadership in governance of organizations, which addresses prevention of modern slavery and human trafficking. The Standards Development Department has engaged in special projects and initiatives through the ongoing SLBS CMOS Value Chain Project, which engages in enhancing value addition, quality, and export readiness in the local CMOS industry through relevant standards and technical support. The St. Lucia Bureau of Standards Development Agenda for the period reflects a multi-sectoral approach that aligns with national priorities for health, trade, good governance, and sustainable development. The work also strengthens St. Lucia's integration in the regional and global standards ecosystem, ensuring that local systems and products meet international benchmarks for quality, safety, and performance. That's it for standards development.
Now, folks, not because we just going through this so briefly, doesn't mean that is a little work. The truth of the matter is, if we have to tell you the amount of work that the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards is pushing, you will have to be there till all next week. You know, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to have your just, you know, like we took in our own horns, because we do a lot of work, and every member of our technical committee can attest to that. And I'm seeing some of their faces there, so let me just call some of them out. Mr. Pierre, Miss Jagannath, Miss Eufalia, Mr. Fulgence, Mr. Hood, Dr. Lewis, Mr. Blanchard. They know that we do a lot of work, and also Miss Betty Comby. So we're happy that we're all here together and leading the charge in everything, putting it all together, setting the pace for the future is our director, is our chairman, sorry, Mr. Peter Lord, who's going to give us the big vision for the future. Mr. Lord, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody.
The protocol has already been established.
Task here is to tell you where we're going. It is a profound honor to stand before you as we commemorate the 45th anniversary of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. 35 years is not a milestone, it's a legacy. It's a legacy of protecting consumers, strengthening businesses, ensuring quality, safety, and fairness embedded in the fabric of our national life. Since its establishment by law, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards has quietly but powerfully served as a cornerstone of St. Lucia's development, supporting trade, enhancing competitiveness, and building confidence in our goods and services. But today is not only about reflection. It's about the direction that we're going to. The world is changing rapidly, economically, technologically, and environmentally. And maybe militarily too. And in this changing world, quality is no longer optional, it is essential. St. Lucia's economic policy direction is well articulated. We are pursuing recovery, resilience, fiscal sustainability, and growth. We are strengthening the private sector. We are embracing transformation, and we are building resilience to global shocks. And so the question becomes, where does the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards fit in all this? To me, the answer is simple. It is at the center. Because standards are not peripheral to development, they are foundational to it. When we support businesses to meet international standards, we improve competitiveness. When we strengthen certification and compliance, we expand market access. When we ensure accurate measurement, we build trust in trade. When we promote quality systems, we drive efficiency and innovation. In short, quality infrastructure is economic infrastructure. Our strategic plan for 2025-2030 positions the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards to fully deliver on this road. And it is important for you to view the plan in two clear ways. First, what you will see, which is our outputs, and what you will experience, which is our outcomes. In terms of our outputs, you will see more standards developed and enforced across sectors,
expanded certification programs and more certified businesses, a fully digitized SLBS service platform, faster and more accessible, stronger testing, metrology and compliance systems, increased training, public awareness and stakeholder engagement, modernization of legislation and regulatory frameworks, deeper regional and international integration. These are the visible signs of transformation as we roll out and implement the strategic plan. More importantly, what you will experience, what the outcomes will be. For businesses, businesses will experience easier access to regional and global markets, faster approvals and lower compliance friction, stronger competitiveness and profitability. Consumers will experience safer, higher quality goods and services, greater confidence in what they buy. Government will experience more effective policy implementation through standards, stronger regulatory coordination and data-driven decisions. And the nation will experience a more resilient, competitive economy, increased investment attractiveness, and a growing culture of quality and accountability. And this is why I say today, with absolute clarity, we are not just building systems, we are building competitiveness, confidence, and a culture of quality across the institution. Our work is not only national. Through our partnership with CrossSkin, we are part of a CARICOM-wide effort to harmonize standards, strengthen quality systems, and facilitate trade across the region. When SLBS advances standards locally, we strengthen trade regionally. When we build compliance capacity nationally, we support the CARICOM single market and economy. When we promote a culture of quality, we elevate the competitiveness of the entire country. But none of this can be achieved in isolation. And so I take this opportunity to issue a call for holistic national and regional partnership. To the government of St. Lucia, your continued support for legislative modernization and institutional strengthening is essential. To our public partners, public sector partners, let us integrate standards into every aspect of national development, from infrastructure to tourism, from health to digital transformation. To the private sector, see standards not as a cost, but as a pathway to growth, credibility, and market access. To our regional and international partners, continue to support us in building capacity and advancing harmonization. And to our dedicated staff of SLBS, thank you, thank you. Your work over the past 35 years have laid a strong foundation, and your work ahead will define the future. This also goes to all the technical committees. There's the people that work in the background that nobody hears about. Technical committees, before the technical committees, there will be no representatives. As you look forward, the path is obvious. If we want a stronger economy, we need stronger standards and compliance. If we want resilience, we need stronger systems. If we want global competitiveness, we must build a culture of quality. Today we celebrate, but tomorrow the work will continue. Let us move forward together, burn a sun, with purpose, partnership, and with a shared commitment to excellence. Let us build a St. Lucia where quality is not an aspiration, but a national standard. Happy 45th anniversary to St. Lucia. Thank you. We're going to continue to bless this country.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much for making my work a little easier moving forward, because you established some of the talking pieces that I will be highlighting. First off, it's a legacy. So I'm proud to have been part of this legacy. We at the Bureau, we move quiet, but our work is powerful. I appreciate that talking point also.
and quality is no longer optional. You know, and this is the direction we need from our leaders who helped steer the ship into these 35 years. Thank you again, Mr. Lord, and also our management and our council. We appreciate it. At this point, we're gonna take a little, I know you're tired of hearing my voice and everything, so we'll take a little break. We're gonna have a musical interlude. We have Mr. Michael Aurelia and Mr. Michael Fletcher, and they will perform some musical renditions for us, just so that we could, relax ourselves and get in the mood, roll your shoulders and take a deep breath.
Hi, because you know what?
Gentlemen, that was awesome. I almost started with my movie and everything. That was awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael Fletcher, Mr. Michael Aurelia. You guys are very talented. I wish I had a chance to take up music when I was, I might have been giving you guys competition. Or you might have thought of me as an inspiration. So yeah, so it's great to see our young people excelling in such endeavors. So thank you very much again. We're coming to coming winding down, and we would like to invite a special somebody to the stage just to talk about from one of our sister organizations. We collaborate a lot with other government agencies and sister organizations. I think you'll have heard that, you'll know that. So just to get a few words, we invite Ms. Kashama Barnett from the Ministry of Tourism, just to say a few words on our behalf. Thank you.
Good morning, all. I would like to adopt the protocol already established. We at the Department of Tourism have recently enacted the Tourism Development Act. And as part of the Tourism Development Act, part of the process is the certification process. It is a critical component of the provision of the Act. So therefore, as part of the certification process, a certification committee was established with the senior member from the Bureau of Standards being part of the committee, and also as the provisions of the TDA makes reference to minimum requirements for each subsector. So we have prepared the minimum requirements, and the Bureau of Standards provide a guide for those minimum requirements across the subsectors. So far, we have approximately 400 service operators from the different subsectors, which include your accommodation, your sites and attractions, your transportation, and soft adventure subsectors. So we hope to work together with the Bureau of Standards and ensure that all service members in the tourism sector meet the standards required by our industry. So thank you, Bureau of Standards, for giving us all the guidance, and happy 35th anniversary.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barnett. Our next guest we would like to call on is Ms. Betty Combi, who also is a stalwart of the Bureau. She's been even when she's not there, she's still there. Ms. Combi, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Busby, and congratulations, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards Chairman, Director, Management, and staff on the 35th anniversary. You know, I worked with the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards between the period 2005 and 2009. And I tell people it was, for me, the most empowering experience. Peter spoke about output and outcome. Yeah, it was an outcome, empowering experience. And so I encourage anybody who gets the opportunity to work in the Bureau of Standards to do that. When you work with the Bureau of Standards and you're on that international stage, you really feel you're on the same level with everybody else. Because what they know is what you know. Very important. As far as partnerships, how have I partnered with the Bureau of Standards? So I left in 2009, and the minute I was able to, I joined the technical committee. So I'm a member of the TC 18 for management services. Other collaborations I've done with the Bureau of Standards included, I did work with Zamala. We did quality management systems principles. We have a webinar on that, and that's available on the internet. Then later, we did a collaboration with the National Competitive Productivity Council, NCPC, as well as SLBS, as well as CARICAD, and MOS, and QPC of Trinidad and Tobago. Again, a number of webinars related to the corpus model and quality management, and that's available on the internet as well. And the final collaboration, the more recent collaboration we did was with regard to my book. Again, I tell people, when I was exposed to policy management, it literally touched my heart because I was using it in the relationship with my husband, married 28 years, that's not an easy thing. I was using the relationship with my children, and I just wanted everybody to know about that. And so I wrote my book. And so very recently, the Bureau collaborated with myself and UBTV, as well as Mark of Excellence in Barbados, and we did an interview with Glendon Islands. So yes, thank you, the Bureau. I continue to see your value. I continue to capitalize on your value. And more than ever, I wish you continued success now and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ms. Combi. I dreams for you. Mr. Tony Pierre is also a member of our council, and he also sits on our technical committees. He is the Chief Environmental Officer. Mr. Pierre. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Knowledge, all that has already been established. I know when I'm going to start. 40 years, see, I've been either staff or member of serving somewhere within the outstanding. I cannot remember the number of technical committees I've served on. As you correctly said, I still sit on council today. I've done a lot of work, and today, because of the Bureau, I could say it's crucial. It's a safer place, not only through advancement in development, technology, and so on, but from a health standpoint. So let me say a special good morning from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Nutrition, and most immediately the Environmental Health. As I seek to speak about partnership, it's a partnership statement. Seems like a marriage. Environmental Health Division and the Bureau of Standards. Many of what was spoken about in terms of the 23 different technical committees, the certification of hazard, good manufacturing practices, duty and wellness, food safety training, and all the work that is done. The very same work is supported under the Public Health Act and the regulations. So, what is contained in this Public Health Act? Food regulations. There is barber shop regulation. I'll tell you what this is going. Chairs over but we go from there. We speak of food safety, slaughterhouse, spoke of agriculture, all of those regulations. We speak of beauty, we spoke of community tourism, accommodation, hotels, who license them, Ministry of Health, who license the Airbnb, Ministry of Health, who license the beauty and wellness sector, the Ministry of Health, who license food establishment, the Ministry of Health, work with a lot of the vendors, the agro processes, the Ministry of Health. We don't do that alone. Hence, the partnership with the Bureau of Standards. A lot of the regulations are old. Recently, from the Ministry of Health, amended a number of the pieces of regulation, and we also have new regulation, and thanks to the Bureau and the work that is done at the Bureau. We're talking about smoking regulations, tattooing, and the risk to public health. There is no regulation. Contained in there are the standards developed by the Bureau in terms of regulating and looking at the risk to public health. And that's the reason I made the point that St. Lucia is safer today. The standards that are developed. We, the Bureau of Health, champion standards. Okay. Let's speak a little about food safety. And I know this stuff was to be very short. Yes. because I can speak of 80 years.
I told him not,
The work of the Bureau and its partnership with the Ministry of Health, but I will make it very short. As the government of St. Lucia has given the Ministry of Health a mandate to develop new food regulations, and for that, have a food safety bill, which we are hoping to Food Safety Act of St. Lucia. So the work of the Bureau is well cut out here. What typically happens in the third world countries, sometimes food that does not make its way to the developed world sent back to our destination. One of the most frequently asked questions from the Bureau, Mr. Oxby here, will bear me out on that. What are the standards for importing, say, fish and fish products? And the standards we're talking about here, we're talking about for antimicrobials, for microbiological content, for pesticide residue, for processes, irradiated foods. What are the standards? And oftentimes, I have to say it's not in regulation, so you know what that means. So it means that foods that can predispose our consuming public health risk comes to us. So within that piece of regulation, our work is well cut out, and of course, the Bureau is a focal point for Codex and Codex Alimentarius, and Codex is the body responsible for setting standards for food safety. So we have to say, what are the standards looking at each food? What are the standards that St. Lucia would allow for imports of those foods into St. Lucia? Recently as well, for exports as well, we develop the regulations and the standards need to be in harmony. We need to have the same local standards, because the exporting countries, we spoke of our CMOS and our food, and they are asking us, what is contained in the food? What are the standards? And we spoke of HACCP. So by way of the work of the Bureau of Standards, it makes regulating the industry very easy for the Ministry of Health as well. Because when we speak of HACCP, we speak of ISO 22000, we are speaking of standards that surpasses the basic prerequisites that are contained in regulations, as I mentioned in the Public Health Act. So it therefore means if you are meeting those standards, inspection and regulation is very easy for the regulatory authority, because you have surpassed the minimum standards, or minimum, what is the minimum required in regulation, which are often prerequisites to those standards that we speak about. So I would like to say happy 85th anniversary to the Bureau and to the staff of the Bureau, and to also under the leadership of Director, Chair, Council members, to continue the good work that we are doing. Oftentimes we hear in government and we fight in tooth. We need to recognize the alliance we have and the strength we have with each other in terms of we being on the same page. Ministry of Health offers food safety training, Bureau offers food safety training. None of us can go all. So we actually complement each other in terms of the work that we do. Actually look at and review the programs of each other to ensure that we are delivering to the public one product. So let me say thank you very much for having me this morning. It is indeed a pleasure being here, and I'm very proud of the work being done by them. That's
Now just one fountain of knowledge that is at the disposal of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. Think of all the other teaching members who are working with us. Thank you, Mr. Pierre. Another fountain of knowledge, this one is an expert in consumer affairs. We have Dr. Tekla Lewis, who is a council member and also represents the National Consumers Association, who we collaborate with in everything, because one of our mandates is consumer protection, and consumer affairs is also the watchdog for consumer protection. Dr. Lewis.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to recognize the protocol already established. And on behalf of the National Consumer Association, and also being a member of 2 technical committees, I extend warm greetings to the leadership, the chairman, and staff of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, distinguished partners and the members of the council, and all gathered here this morning to celebrate this remarkable milestone as we reiterate the importance of our partnership with St. Lucia Bureau of Standards. Today we commemorate not just 35 years of existence, but 35 years of commitment, credibility, and country building. As I have learned this morning that the Bureau has done so much in this island to give us a better quality of life. 35 years of laying the foundation for something many people take for granted. But all of us depend on one thing, quality. The theme, 3.5 decades, progressing our quality infrastructure, is both timely and profound. It reminds us that what begins as a vision in 1991 has evolved into a critical pillar of national development, quietly shaping the way we live, the way we trade, and interact as a society. As president of the National Consumer Association of St. Lucia, I stand here representing the voice that is often lost in the chain, but most impacted by its strengths or its failures, and that is the consumer, because everyone here this morning is a consumer. And let me say this clearly, standards mean nothing if they do not translate into confidence at the consumer level. Every one of us must be confident in the goods and services that we procure. Now, this is where the work of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards becomes transformational. Because when standards are developed, implemented, and upheld, they do more than regulate, they reassure, and that's where we build confidence. They tell every citizen you are protected, you are valued, and you can trust what you consume. The collaboration between the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards and the National Consumer Association has been both purposeful and impactful. Together, we have worked to promote awareness of standards and their relevance to everyday life, advocate for systems that protect consumers and ensure accountability. Our partnership reflects a shared understanding that quality is not an abstract concept, but a lived experience, because we have been able, together as a partner, strengthen public trust in the mechanisms designed to serve them. The experience that we have shared with the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards have allowed us to understand a product performs as promised, a service meets expectation, a system responds when something goes wrong. And as we reflect on this journey, we must also recognize how deeply infrastructure is embedded across sectors. And this morning, we have learned of the several sectors that the Bureau of Standards have sought to ensure that they qualify, quantify, and accredit. In tourism, it defines our reputation. In the youth economy, shapes innovation and credibility. In environmental health, as we just heard a while ago, it safeguards life. Quality, therefore, is not just a technical requirement, it's a national asset. But as we celebrate progress, we must also look ahead, because the future demands more of us. It demands that we move beyond awareness to empowerment, that we build systems that are not only efficient, but accessible and responsive, that we ensure that every consumer knows not just their rights, but how to exercise them. This is why initiatives like the Consumer Connect portal are so important, because they represent a shift toward a more integrated and accountable ecosystem where concerns are not just heard, but addressed. So as we celebrate your anniversary with you, We recognize the truth is quality is everybody's responsibility. Institutions must uphold standards. Businesses must implement them with integrity. And consumers must demand them with confidence, because when consumers become informed and empowered, they do not just participate in the market, they shape it. As we honor the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards today, we also honor the partnership that have made its work meaningful and impactful to consumers in St. Lucia. So on behalf of the National Consumer Association, I reaffirm our commitment to this collaboration, one grounded in trust, advocacy, and shared purpose. Let me leave you with this thought. The true measure of quality is not in the standards we write, but in the confidence that people feel. And for the 35 years, the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards has been building that confidence quietly, consistently, and courageously, more so under the very efficient chairmanship of Mr. Peter Lord and the very competent management of Mr. Bernie Manuel and his team. And let me not discount the technical committees that play a vital role in ensuring that the hard work they do at the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards meets the quality that is required. So as I close, I recognize the transformative leadership of Bernie Manuel. I'm giving you your flowers before you die. I can say that at your eulogy. Whose vision has driven a paradigm shift in the advancement and profitability of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, demonstrating that standards are not only protective, but progressive and economically empowering. And this is not a paid announcement. Because of his leadership, the future of quality infrastructure in St. Lucia is not just secure, it is promising. This promise has been manifested in the several engagements and empowerment sessions that the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards have held at NCA's biannual meetings, when the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards empowers us with information and best practices that strengthen consumer confidence. And Mr. Emmanuel and your team who have engaged with us, we want to thank you. We also want to thank your board, because there are times we come to you for a little financial assistance, and I know they give you the bandwidth to assist us on that. Mr. Peter Lord, thank you so much. I see you smile. Congratulations on this milestone as we continue to build together. And may the next 45 years take us even further towards a St. Lucia where quality is not questioned, but expected, not enforced, but embraced, not limited, but lived by all. Thank you and happy anniversary.
Winding down. We are winding down, folks. But I would like to change the order of our agenda slightly. We would like to call on Mr. Omar Kombi to join me up on stage. So part of what we were trying to do, which we wanted to launch our debate competition, but Dr. Jameson Charles isn't feeling too well, but we are planning for the future. That is part of the work that the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards is planning for, and Mr. Pombi is part of our future that we have been trying to safeguard, forming that invisible shield so that their future is safe. Mr. Charles, I haven't fully highlighted the specifics of the debate competition, but I had a meeting with Sir Arthur Lewis, who Mr. Charles is, Kombi, sorry, is representing. And I know y'all are saying, but haven't we heard the name Kombi already earlier on? But we know We don't come here ready to, but anyway, we're not going to go into that. You know, so Mr. Combi, we will give you our last speech before we will just give them just whet their appetites. It's like, you know, before we go into our vote of our musical rendition.
Good morning, everyone. Before there are any questions, I am the son of Betty.
There was question.
Good morning once again. Adopting the protocol already established, it is my pleasure to represent the South Louis Community College at this notable milestone. I begin by extending sincere apologies on behalf of our principal, Dr. Matthew Jameson Charles, who is unfortunately unable to be with us today. Nevertheless, I'm honored to stand in her stead and just offer some brief remarks on this upcoming initiative for the SLBS debate. So as part of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards calendar of anniversary activities, the college has agreed to partner with SLBS to host a student debate on the tentative theme, the integration of artificial intelligence in education is more of a threat than a support to the core principles of quality education. I know a bit long, but bear with me. Although we may have a bit of AI fatigue with all the discussions, the workshops and stuff that have been floating around in the air, the effects of artificial intelligence on human behavior, especially our youth and our students, is something that we cannot ignore. It's a chief concern both of SALCC as the national tertiary institution and the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards as the national standards body. Rather than using AI as an advanced tool to further the education and intellectual formation, there is an increasing habit among our young people to completely outsource their critical thinking to these tools, whether it be ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc. However, if we're being honest, that temptation doesn't end with our young people. All of us, to some degree or another, would admit we are guilty of relying a bit too much on these tools. Therefore, the debate will allow our students the opportunity to reflect on their own personal use of AI, familiarize themselves with the educational standards and best practices promoted by the SLBS, and to challenge the audience to think critically on what exactly excellence in education truly looks like. Education, or rather learning in general, is not merely about regurgitating information, but personal growth and transformation. So does AI do a better job supporting that aim or undermining it? Our students will make the cases. We applaud SLBS, particularly Mr. Marciano Busby, for spearheading this initiative, and we look forward to getting our SALCC community involved in all of SLBS's activities as much as possible. The college thanks SLBS for its 35 years of dedicated service. The quality infrastructure you have built up has not only benefited SALCC as an institution, but so many of our graduates who have been able to confidently enter their career fields or start their business ventures because you showed them the standards. You showed them the best practices that put them on par with the rest of the world. We wish you continued success in the years to come, and I thank you.
Yeah.
Now, folks, we have a treat for them. We have in our presence the world-renowned and illustrious Augustine Job Duplessis, who will now rendition us with some of his pieces. We are very fortunate, and we would like us, before we run off to lunch, open our ears, open our hearts, open our soul, and open our bellies to the music. That way, when we go and eat, the food going to just go down much nicer because we've already been primed with such great music. Mr. Duplessis, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duplessis. Like I said, I've heard so much about you. I've heard your music growing up. This is my first time actually meeting you in person. I feel like better poet. You know, we'll have to take a selfie so I can say it. So we have come to the end of our activity. Not a day because we still have lunch so that's on the other side. But I would like to thank you, all my distinguished guests, colleagues, media fraternity, and friends. On behalf of the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards, I extend our deepest gratitude to all of you who made it today. We thank your inspiring, our leaders, our Standards Council members, our chairman, our director, for your inspiring words. Our management for your unwavering support, and also our stakeholders for their continued trust in our mission. To our staff and our dedicated team, and your hard work has ensured that today's event reflects the excellence that we strive for in our everyday lives. We would like to thank each of you for joining us in making this milestone a blessing. Mr. Michael and Michael for your musical rendition, and also Mr. Duplessis for your beautiful music. Your presence has added warmth and meaning to this celebration. I would also like to thank certain key members of staff who I leaned on for their help and support. Ms. Nadine Fulgence, Ms. Carla Henville, Mr. Ernie Pierre, Ms. Katasha Felix. Without your support, we would not have gotten through today. So may we continue to work together to strengthen our national quality infrastructure on behalf of the nation and on the generations to come. I want to thank you. May God bless all of us. And let's end this with a happy anniversary to the St. Lucia Bureau of Standard. 1, 2, 3. Happy anniversary. Thank you very much. Student is available in the training room, just across the hall.